Thank you so much for letting me be here. So I'm Kimberly Engels. I am um, thrilled to be here speaking to all of these scientists. I am actually a philosopher in the humanities. I'm associate professor of philosophy at Malloy University. I have been studying the UAP UFO issue for about 4 years now. Um, I am obviously late in the game compared to some others, but I'm also, I'm fairly early career as well. So I am teaching. I am on the board of advisors for the Society for UAP Studies, otherwise known as SUOPS. And our website here, societyforuapstudies.org, is where you can find us. And then /phenomenology of UAP is where you can find more information about the course. And I'll give you that link again before the presentation's over. I am running an 8-week course, Wednesdays in October and November. We won't run on the Wednesday of Thanksgiving week. From 6:30 to 9 p.m. In Eastern Time on the phenomenology of UAP. But we will be recording the live sessions because we have a few people who are registered from like different time zones. So if it's a conflict for you to be able to attend live, you would have the option of registering for the course, and then you can access the live recordings afterwards. Just letting you know that that is an option for people who might have a conflict during this time period. This is when the class will be running live. So just a little bit about the course. So I have the actual course description written here. Sorry, some things are in my way. Here we go. So basically, we're going to look at the phenomenological method as a tool for studying UAP and UAP encounters. We'll introduce phenomenology as conceived by founding figure Edmund Husserl, and we'll transition to differentiating mythical or cultural UFOs from the phenomenal UAP, what actually appears. We will look at different types of UAP encounters, basically anything from lights in the sky to actual, reported encounters with perceived entities, or those who report kind of experiences in different dimensions of reality. And we're going to use Husserl's method of bracketing to suspend our assumptions and preconceptions about what appears, about the source of the perception, instead just looking at what is appearing to consciousness. We'll use his process of eidetic reduction to kind of tease out what unique and essential components make the phenomenon or the experience specific or different from other kinds of perhaps events of high strangeness or other types of anomalous or extraordinary experiences. So we're going to start with Husserl, and then we're going to look at Merleau-Ponty's phenomenology of perception. He really introduces the phenomenology of the body, because many UAP encounters are not just something that they don't report just seeing something. They actually report a wide range of like physical perceptions that accompany it. So we'll use Merleau-Ponty's phenomenology of perception to study the emotions, bodily sensations, and responses of experiencers. And then we'll introduce Sartre. Sartre's phenomenology. Will use this to understand the role of human value and meaning that is ascribed to the experiences, because people who have these experiences, they project meaning onto them. And looking at Sartre's theory of value and Sartre's theory of meaning will kind of help us unpack the layers of meaning that these experiences have for individuals who have these extraordinary encounters. We'll look at close encounters classified of like the first kind all the way through the fifth. We'll look at, the human initiated types of encounters that people are now reporting. And we're going to draw comparisons with other classifications of extraordinary encounters. Are there similarities with near-death experiences? Are there similarities with shamanic initiations? sometimes religious miracles or reported religious miracles have a lot in common with reported UAP encounters. So we'll look at both literature from philosophers as well as from UAP researchers, such as Jacques Vallée, John Mack, Thomas Bulliard, Kenneth Ring, Peter Gotilla, Michael E. Zimmerman, and Jeffrey Kripal. Obviously, it's going to be more humanities focused because it is a humanities course rather than a science course. But we'll look at, some reports from pilots, what appeared to them. How can we use the phenomenological method to examine this, all the way to looking at things like abduction encounters, or, as I said, close encounters of the fifth kind, where people are the ones, initiating or calling in the experience. So this is just an overview of the weekly topics. Week 1, we'll do an introduction to what is Husserlian phenomenology. And we'll look at the authors. We'll have readings from the primary text from Husserl. Robert Sokolowski is a philosopher who's done a lot of work on Husserlian phenomenology, and then some more recent work from Jeffrey Kripal, who advocates for use of the phenomenological method. Week 2, we'll differentiate the mythic versus the phenomenal UFO. So the UFO myth versus what is actually, what is being reported as appearing. And we'll use Thomas Bulliard's work on that. Week 3, we'll start looking at kind of close encounters of the first kind, or also just seeing discs, seeing lights, readings from Richard Haynes, Julio Miguel Guerra, and Peter Gotilla. And then week 4, phenomenology of close encounters of the second kind. We'll look at, that's when we'll introduce Merleau-Ponty. We'll have some work from Nick Pope and Jacques Vallée. Week 5, close encounters of the third kind. We'll look at Mack, Kevin Randall, more work from Vallée. Week 6, we do the close encounters of the fourth kind, or abduction experiences. That's when we'll bring in Sartre, more work from Mack. Michael E. Zimmerman has done some really important philosophical work on CE4s. And then week 7, we'll start looking at close encounters of the fifth kind. We'll read some more Sartre, look at work from Mark Thomas Clavel. And then week 8, phenomenology of the impossible. That's where we'll do kind of a comparison with other types of extraordinary experiences or experiences of high strangeness. The authors are Mack, Ring, and Vallée. Some of the readings might shift a little bit, but this is pretty set in terms of who we're going to be using as a background, or the authors are there to help enhance the material that we'll talk about each week. So if you register, you'll have access to an online Google course where the readings for the week are posted. And obviously the readings, it's as much as you want to do on your own. You're not going to be like quizzed over them or anything, but they're there to supplement what we'll actually go over in class during the 2.5 hours that we have to discuss. So, the course provides students, or just, people in general, with a unique opportunity to rigorously engage with what might be called the more subjective aspects of the UAP experience. Obviously, the more empirical, objective lens is extremely important, especially when we're talking about the sciences. Phenomenology takes the lived conscious experience of the individual as kind of the starting point of philosophical inquiry, and says, what are people experiencing? What is appearing to them? And how does it have meaning for them? How are they assigning it meaning and value in their lives? And when we look at UAP encounters, we're going to see it's often, if we're studying the phenomenology of it, it's not just the encounter that they have. Yeah, they have the encounter that lasts maybe, anywhere from a few minutes to a few hours. But many experiencers report kind of ongoing effects after these encounters that are part of the lived experience, part of what it means to have a UAP encounter, because they include this, or they understand this as another layer of the experience. So since this is, humanities focused using phenomenology, it just introduces a different lens that I think is important, and that, there isn't quite as much attention given to this. The sciences have to be more objective. They have to look at things that have, like, physical evidence and whatnot, rather than just relying on people's accounts. But from the lens that I look through, the accounts are important too, and they're an important part of understanding, what UAP mean for us, and what it means in this, how to make sense of the UAP experience, I guess, is the best way to say it. So to register, the course cost is $125, and if you can make monthly payments if you want, if that helps anyone. Again, this is the link where you can register. societyforuapstudies.org is the general website, and then / phenomenology of UAP. You can also just go to societyforuapstudies.org, and then you can click on online courses, and it's there, and it'll have a link there to register. Our first class is going to be Wednesday, October 4th from 6:30 to 9. Again, this is for this is the time that it will be live, but we will be recording it for anyone who can't make it to the live session. You could watch it afterwards. And then, yeah, live classes will be recorded for those who cannot attend. That concludes my presentation, and I hope to, potentially see some of you there.